you ready to rock, boys and girls?
It's Tuesday afternoon, and you know what that means. It's time for Randomity with the Random Christian Show. Today, Kristian welcomes actor, writer, and director Stan Livingston. Brought to you by Neil Getzlow's book, Unmasked, Conquering Sexual Sin and Walking in Victory. Order your copy now at neilgetzlow.com. Use the code RANDOM for a 10% discount. Also sponsored by music, podcast, and video game producer Squids Killin' It Productions. Find them on Instagram at Squids Killin' It and on Facebook at Squids Killin' It Gaming. Proudly brought to you by the SJ Network, bringing professional representation to artists, authors, and creators on all levels. Contact them at s-j-network.com. Also brought to you by Consolidated Skateboards, quality skateboarding decks, shoes, shirts, and blankets on the web at consolidatedskateboards.com. Our intro music is provided by the Dead Campers. Their latest album, Savage, is out now. Check them out at deadcampers.com. With us always is our own Matt. My name is Andy, and now here's your host, a man so random his phone number is never the same, Kristian Random.
Hello! Yes, I pressed the right button. Everything worked well, and it is Tuesday. We are almost normal in a way, and we're almost on time. It's amazing. Things work just so well. Neil, you have to just be on the show from now on. I know. I'm going to screw everything up. And Andy, you're so small.
I can't help it. I'm going to talk like this for the rest of the podcast.
You need a bigger studio if you want me to come out.
It is a little intimate in here, I will say. Hey, what do you think?
That's cool.
Yeah?
What logo is
Andy,
that?
I'm
That's
sorry.
not our logo.
Oh.
That looks great, but that's not our logo.
No, it's true. Sorry. There, now you're on. I had you muted as well. I apologize.
Yeah.
In the studio with us is our official sponsor and amazing author, Neil Getzlow. Neil, hello. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
All right.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah.
For just a little bit.
Let me enable our chat here while we're on here. It does show backwards.
The wrong logo is backwards. We're doing great today.
Well,
It's the last show of the year. You can just let it out.
See, Matt, it's the last show of the year.
No, absolutely.
Where is the
What are you trying to do?
Welcome to the show, Neil.
Hey-o.
Behind the scenes, this is...
See, I told you jinxed it, man.
Yeah,
I told you jinxed it.
Yeah, I know. It is backwards, but this show is backwards. That's what makes it random. This was a gift from my nephew for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
KDR, our professional derby racer.
That's cool.
He brought that for me before we changed the logo. He ordered it, so but it's still awesome. So
That's still so cool. Yeah, that's great.
We're gonna let it ride. So KDR, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. And I want to thank my wife for the Death Wish coffee. It is delicious and amazing. So Death Wish, if you're listening, we can use your sponsorship as well. Like Neil's like, nah. Screw you, Death Wish. I'm going to give you a Death Wish right now. All right. So basically, we have Mr. Stanley Livingston with us. He was Chip Douglas on the show, and My Three Sons. I apologize. I'm trying to do too many things at once.
Good finish.
Yeah,
good
good follow through, right?
Yeah.
Swing away. And he's also producer, writer. He's actually done some artwork as well, which I know there's an interesting story behind some of that. So I got a little background info on Mr. Livingston's. So we're going to ask him about that. If you are out there watching, please join in the chat. As you can see, Lois here, my lovely wife, has been chiming in and giving directions like Matt from the back room there. Matt is our producer extraordinaire, hanging out and keeping us in control in a way. Andy, thank you for joining us, sir. How are you?
I'm great. All is
Yeah.
well. It's it's very snowy in Salem right now.
Yes, yeah. I
We
saw your
never-
pictures of that, buddy.
Yeah, we never get snow this time of year. Well, I've lived here for 3 years. I can't say never. but so the last few years we've only ever gotten snow in February, and sure enough, Christmas evening, it dumped on us, and we
Wow.
woke up on the 26th to about 4 inches of snow on the ground, which
Jeez.
which was nuts. And it convinced me that my car is just not built for snow, and we live on a hill too, so we have to wait for plows to come for gravel and stuff. So we were locked in for the last couple days, but at least we had enough supplies where I did not have to leave.
Oh
So,
my goodness. Yeah, that
Yeah.
could be a little hairy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
yeah, a fun couple days here, just playing in the snow and enjoying it. So
So you're almost Donner Party style at one point there.
a little bit, but yeah, everything worked out. So we're all
Right
good,
on.
and it's
Well,
it's
good.
starting to melt. So we're good.
So nobody's getting eaten. Cats and dogs are still around and safe.
No, yeah, everybody's good. So yeah.
All right. Well, so the reason Neil is here today, by the way, Andy, Neil, Andy.
Neil, it's great to see you, man.
Oprah.
It's great to see you.
Oprah.
Good to see you again.
Oprah. Yes.
Yeah.
Again. Hey, I'm just going through the formalities here.
You get a Neil, and you get a Neil, and you get a Neil. Everybody gets a Neil today.
Everybody gets a Neil.
Fantastic.
You know what that calls for? That right there. Yep.
Okay.
We're nerds.
All
All
right.
right. Yeah, we
All right.
get it.
I like
We
it.
get it.
I like it.
We're full of it.
Yeah.
Neil has been kind enough to stop by, and we were just going to talk up a little more about the book. How's things been going for you? You getting it out there? And
Yeah, it's been going good. I'm trying to draw some more awareness, not only to the book, which is great, but again, if you heard my story before, it's really just about bringing some hope and encouragement to others who might be suffering through their addictions, through anxiety, through depression, that kind of thing. And I appreciate you bringing me on. That's one of the things that as we head into 2022 that I want to sort of focus on top of my story is just, helping people understand, hey, here are the things you can do to sort of get you mentally prepared and on the road to something different. Because I think a lot of times when we head into the new year, what's the first thing we always go to? Oh, I'm going to get myself into shape. Well, physically, right? Like,
right.
So I'm going to cut out the junk food. I'm going to, stop eating all the fast food. I'm going to stop choking on coffee.
And the Death Wish coffee takes its turn on Christian. That's what you get for drinking the Death Wish coffee.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
And then,
sorry.
Hey, we never talk about, in addition to not choking on liquid, we don't talk about at the start of the year. How do you get yourself mentally in the right spot? And, for me, there are some things that I did that I talk about in the book that I helped get myself in the right frame of mind. It started with building my faith and giving what I like to call, if you think about the Whole 30 diet, I call it the Whole 60. Talking to God 20 minutes, listening to God for 20 minutes, and then listening to like either worship music or an online sermon, that kind of thing, just to get yourself going to start the day. I mean, that's kind of how I started to do it. And again, it maybe if faith isn't something that that you haven't built yet, maybe this is a way you can do it, or find some other way just to kind of center yourself, every single day to start yourself and get rid of some of those distractions.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just for a quick refresher with everybody on the book, which
here, I get it.
pardon me,
You got it.
I got it here. I have to make up for spitting coffee all over the back of the room here. It is right here, Unmasked by Neil Getzlow, this guy right here. And let's give a quick refresher course about what the book is about, which was basically you were caught up in a lot of pornography.
Yep.
and sex addiction.
I had a lifelong addiction to pornography. Started at the age of 9, morphed into a sex addiction, turned into getting blackmailed by a prostitute in a hotel room in Chicago on a business trip right at the start of the pandemic, and then ultimately that incident led me to finding Jesus, confessing all of my sins to God and to my wife, and sort of turning my life around. And the life I'm leading today is so much different and so much better than where I was, trapped in those addictions, and again, just sort of trapped by the anxiety and depression. And given the state of the COVID world that we're in right now, I know that there's people suffering from anxiety, people suffering from depression. They've turned to alcohol and drugs to sort of medicate through this. And
a lot of people are just living online, so they escape into that whole world, and it becomes a reality for them, which is total deception. Right there alone. And so I love the fact that, like you said, you're very incredibly honest in this book, and your story, and how like it was right as a pandemic hit, and then you're there locked in your house with your wife.
Yeah.
And and I know we're going to get her in here eventually, and we're going to talk with both of you, because she's actually thinking about writing her side of the the whole story.
And I think her story is much more important than mine. Personally, I think what's her forgiveness and her staying with me through all that, that's something that I think I'm still amazed at that, but that just shows the power of the faith that she had. Again, it's turned around our marriage.
Right.
We've got a marriage now that is rock solid.
Yeah.
And I went from not wanting to do anything with her to wanting to do everything with her.
Right.
And but just I'm grateful for it. And I'll just encourage people again, as you start the new year and you're looking to make some changes and looking to have some better mental health in the new year, I just say cut out the junk food of your mind. And I know we've got Stanley Livingston listening, so hopefully he doesn't take offense to this when I say I cut out. I canceled Netflix. I canceled cable TV. Got rid of all my sports subscriptions. Now some of that has slowly seeped back in, but what I was able to do was kind of go cold turkey and all that.
Yeah.
Eliminated. Started filling up with kind of what I considered the good stuff that I needed.
Right.
Around my faith, and there wasn't any time for any of those other desires. There wasn't any more time for pornography, any of that. And
the avenues weren't there.
Yeah, they weren't. But frankly, I haven't been tempted by any of that since February or March of last year, 2020. And so I just cut out the stuff, cut out those distractions that are taking you away from really your purpose here. And everything's good in moderation.
Right.
So you just have to watch out with what you're doing. Watch out for things that can become addictive.
Yeah.
I know people don't think pornography is addictive, but it is.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And because it is so, it's kind of like almost how, cigarettes and alcohol used to be used in TV and in the movie. I mean, it's still used in the movies and whatnot, but I mean, it was such a social norm at one point, to have a cigarette and a drink while you're sitting there talking with your friends. And then, all of a sudden, everybody's dying from smoking and dying from, cirrhosis of the liver. And it's as to where like now, I swear if you polled, and I've kind of done this at work, just, out of curiosity, do you guys look at porn? Yeah. I mean, it is such a prevalent, and even in the mildest forms, I mean, you look at some of the models, doing with clothes, or you see, on the TikTok videos and even Instagram videos, there's so much that is thrown out there, just to catch your eye, because it's all about that 15 seconds that you look at. And, you get scantily clad women or even men for, women, stuff like that, or, whatever. But it's so thrown out there and in your face, and it's become such a norm. You're just like, oh yeah, you kind of get numb to it. but there's times where you're just like, well, what is this? And then
Yeah,
you start dripping
It's-
in a little deeper and a little deeper, and it really
it's very easy to fall down that hole, and
Yeah.
it's one click leads to 2 clicks, leads to 4 clicks, leads to
then
clicks,
you're
and then
subscribing into something to see more and
right,
whatnot.
yeah.
Well,
But
I was glad.
And,
Oh,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was going to say I was glad to hear Billie Eilish come out and sort of share her story about her experience with porn. I know
Yeah.
you're trying to figure out who that is. I can tell by
No, I know who she is.
We'll let
I
him know.
still
We'll
think it's
tell
kind
him.
of. I think it's kind of a Kanye West front with Billie Eilish, because I think and I hope it's true, and I
Yeah.
hope she's doing it out of the goodness of her trying to be a better person and whatnot, and be better for her fans and the young girls and kids that really enjoy her music, because some of her music is very, very dark.
Sure.
And and I know there's a lot of musicians and artists and whoever that go through that phase and fade into that. So I hope that she's pulled out of it, and I hope that she does do well. I wish no ill will. I just hope it isn't some kind of stunt, to get more people involved, because she's kind of she's a trippy girl.
She is.
I'm not gonna lie. Reminds me of some girls I dated back in high school that were yeah. Glad I'm not there anymore. So but yeah, no, and so now the book, and I know, like I said, we're gonna get you and your wife
Yeah.
back in
I
here
think we're in February, I think.
yeah, when I expand
Build out your empire down
yeah,
here.
because 3 of us in here,
Yeah.
that's gonna yeah. Okay, so the book is called Unmasked, Conquering Sexual Sin and Walking in Victory. It is by Mr. Neil Getzlow here. Now, where can we find this?
Yeah,
on?
just if you go to my website, neilgetzlow.com, you can check out the book, learn more about my story. And if you buy the book off my website, and I believe you use the code RANDOM,
Yes,
10%
sir.
discount. And we're also donating $5 to Run to Stop It, which is an organization fighting against sex trafficking across the U.S. So
Yes.
it's an organization we're proud to support. And I appreciate the chance to be on your show, sponsor your show, and support you guys, because I like what you do. And
Yeah, we're very proud to have you as our sponsor, man.
Yeah.
Because it's something I truly believe in this, and I believe and like you said, you're helping to support Run to Stop It. And a lot of this comes, you don't realize that every time you tap into these this Pornhub or I don't know what some of the other sites are, but I mean that's like the big one, I guess, that everybody's really attacking right now. Those actors in there are victims. A lot of them are victims of child sex trafficking and whatnot. And kids that look 18 aren't always 18. And even then, it's really just, it's such a dark, twisted industry. And so
But
I'm
your journey, Neil, of addiction recovery is one of the more fantastical ones, and it's not the one that you normally hear, and
No.
and just from support, I think, and that's why we appreciate you and your story so much, is that you are so open with us and you are so willing, but you're there's the fact that you went out there and grew from it was just incredible. So thank you for all that you do for us first and foremost, but we're again
like putting up with me.
Again, it's ultimately, I mean, the reason that you're here is just it's an incredible story. So I think that more people just need to to learn and go down, because if your addiction isn't necessarily what your addiction was, I'm sure the road to recovery can be certainly masked by what you went through and the journey you took to get to your
it's still a similar journey either way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because since this happened, I've talked to some addicts who have been addicted to drugs or alcohol, and it's like the brain works the same way when you get into whatever you're doing, whether it's porn or drugs. You just act the same way. So
right.
It's a story that God gave me, so all I'm doing is sharing it, and that's all I can do, and hope it helps somebody.
All right, dude. Well, listen, I appreciate you
thank you.
stopping in, brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate you
Thank
so
you.
much. And we're going to go play some more pinball soon. We went out
Thanks,
and
Neil.
kicked some butt on some pinball machines the other night. So I'm just
Yeah.
saying, got my flipper fingers.
Happy New Year to all of you. Enjoy your conversation. I'll be listening.
Right on,
yeah,
bro.
man.
And
Awesome. I'm gonna try to
thanks
sneak
for
out of
putting
here.
up with the squibbly squabbly chair there
Yeah.
too. All right,
Yeah.
hey Neil Getzlow, thank you folks so much. Thank you, brother. And as he makes his way out, we do a little quick studio adjustment, and I'll be talking to you soon, my
I'm
man.
gonna sneak out this fancy flag here.
My high tech
Out of the
studio.
dungeon. Bye, guys.
All right, brother. All right, Neil Getzlow, thank you so much. And let's fix our screens here a wee bit, shall we? Hey, there's
I'm bigger
Andy.
now.
Hey, now I got to
There you go. Camera
readjust
over.
a little bit. How do I look?
You
My
look
camera
centered.
perfect? I want to look good because we got the man, the myth here.
Let's get him in. I'm
get
excited
him
to talk
in.
to him.
Uh-oh. We lost him. Stanley. We
Uh-oh.
lost Stanley. Oh no, we've truly lost Stanley.
Oh.
That's not good.
Nope. All right. Well.
Well, now it's time for professional time killing with Kristian and Andy.
So what happened with the Death Wish coffee there? Did it just go down the wrong hole?
It
or?
just totally, yeah. Right as I was taking a drink, it went right down my air hole. My air hole.
Yeah.
As Mo would say.
Right.
I think we just got him back. Hang on.
Okay.
All right. So now we'll just kindly
Good cover.
introduce a man who, I mean, he's just, it's like talking to the neighbor next door. He's such a fun guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Stanley Livingston. Stanley, sir. Hello. How are you,
Hey
sir?
guys, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
We got you.
Yeah. Yes,
Great,
we
great.
can. Hold on. I'm going to
All right.
pump up your mic just a little bit there. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, sorry we lost you somehow, and I apologize. It's probably my fault.
I saw a blip and then it went away, so I figured I better come back somehow.
Well, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here. Yeah, we're all pioneers, you know. It's like a new way to do business, I guess, over the internet. It's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the live stream. I mean, this started out kind of as an audio podcast, and then I started doing video chats with other people while I was doing it, and I'm like, they've got this live stream thing, and so we kind of rolled with that punch, and it's I like it. It's fun.
It's a
easy.
good thing. Actually, we saw this up at NAB probably about 8 years ago, where they were predicting.
Wow.
The problem was there wasn't instantaneous feedback yet. You know, you always
Right.
had latency there, and so you'd say something and have to wait 5 seconds for the person who heard it and then responded. But we went up there, and somebody had conquered, and I said, "Wow, that's going to be a big deal." You know, now that
Yeah,
there's
I
no
jumped on
latency.
this as soon as I found out about it. This Restream site's amazing.
Yeah, that's
So, okay, let's briefly go over your history, as we like to say here. So, obviously, started with now. Did you start with My Three Sons, or were you doing some other bit stuff?
No.
No,
Yeah.
I was pretty much a veteran actor by then. I started out like most kids do. You know, I was a child trying to get into the movie industry. Actually, I was a child trying to get inside my parents' TV box. I really wanted to be on TV.
Pay attention to me.
Couldn't quite figure that out when I was 4 years old. But yeah, as luck would have it, you know, my parents moved to California. I was born in California. And they took me to a swim school in Hollywood, wanted me to learn how to swim at the ripe old age of 2 years old. And it was the right place at the right time. There were a lot of Hollywood type people bringing their kids to the school.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, to learn how to swim. So there were, you know, sometimes moms that were married to producers or directors, agents who had kids.
Right.
And there was an agent there, and she kept after my mom saying, "Oh, he's really cute, and you know, he's verbose, and you know, she thought I'd make a good candidate to be a child actor." So she started sending me out on you know, different TV shows. In the beginning, I didn't have any lines. I got, like most people, got hired, and I was an extra.
Right.
And I did about 4 or 5 things as an extra kid. And finally, there was a show that was already on the air, but they were switching casts. It was Lassie. The
Oh.
original Lassie had a child actor on it named Tommy Reddick. Well, he was about 18 years old by this point, and they wanted to replace him with a younger actor.
Okay.
And they found John Provost, and they switched out the mom and the dad and John Provost. And John Provost got Lassie. He was known as Timmy on the show. Anyway, in the first episode he was in, what they call the crossover episode, it actually had Tommy Reddick in it, and a very heartfelt scene where he gave Timmy Lassie, as his own dog, and he didn't like living in the country, so he started on a trek to get back to the city and ran away and fell in a lake and was out there drowning. Well, in that scene, that wasn't him, that was me.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
The stunt double for
Is
for
that how
John
you learned how to
Provost.
swim?
Well, no, they came out to the pool to make sure I really could swim, and I basically jumped in with these clothes that I was supposed to be wearing and had to act like I was drowning. So yeah, I put on a good performance. So a couple of days later, I was doing it in a real lake. The only thing
You,
they
didn't-
didn't
you didn't
tell
have
me
one of
was,
those show moms where she's like, "Yeah, he can swim. Watch." Throws you in the pool, and you're like, "Okay, mom, really no." So
yeah, but it was pretty much like that. But when we got to the real lake, somebody didn't say anything about the mud at the bottom of
Oh,
the lake.
no.
And I went down and got stuck in that for a second. I didn't think I was coming back up. So when I came up and gulped a breath of air, I was probably beyond acting at that point, really doing it.
they're like,
And then
"Wow,
the adult,
he's really into this part."
what a performance, a method actor.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, he's going overboard. But anyway, the adult actor came out and rescued me, and and then they cut to John Provost, and he took all the credit, and I basically got my paycheck almost drowned, and that was one of my first real good experiences in showbiz. But it led to other things. My agent just kept pushing, and got other shows where I didn't have any lines, and I got hired onto a Nausea and Harriet.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Uh-oh. We
Oh.
lost his sound.
Stan, we lost your audio.
Yeah, we lost your audio, Stan.
Can you hear us? Oh, I don't think he can hear us. Oh, come back.
Uh-oh. Stan, we lost you. Oh, yeah. I don't know if he can see it.
Hopefully.
So we're having a little technical difficulty with Stan's his signal's faded.
Oh.
Uh
I
is he?
know.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Stan.
Ho-
He can't. Well, so if you're joining us, Stan Livingston's here with us. Unfortunately, his audio has gone out. We have a great picture, and he's there telling the story. And he's not seeing the fact that
And
we.
I guess he can't hear us either.
No, he can't.
No.
Should I? Yeah.
Maybe.
Shoot.
Okay.
Well, so this is live. There's no
Yeah.
editing involved here. So I'm going to pull him off. Maybe
Okay.
maybe he'll see that.
Hopefully. Yeah, maybe he'll see the chat.
No, it's his signal. He has no signal. God, he's telling
really?
a story. Oh my gosh, this is.
I feel so
embarrassing.
bad.
He's got no signal, and that's.
But his
dang
video
it.
looks fine.
Yeah,
Like if he had no signal, his video would be choppy as well.
I don't know. So Stan, wow.
We've lost audio. He keeps lost audio.
Hold on, I'm gonna get some paper.
We're gonna do this the old way.
The old sign method here.
Yeah.
So Andy,
Yeah.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Let's all go
Stan,
to the lobby.
We've lost your audio. We can't hear you.
Backwards, of course.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He got the
Okay.
message.
Good. Hopefully. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out how to reverse the images here. And
that's just
now his signal just came up right as he.
Do you hear me
There.
now?
yeah.
There,
Now we got
yes.
you. Now we got you.
can hear you.
All right. Well, I don't know where I left off in my story, but
We were just like, oh my gosh, he's telling a great story. I can tell. Oh my god.
It was
well,
just.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
Tell me
actually,
what
yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
else.
just
got
gotten
hired-
paid for doing Lassie.
But you just got hired onto Ozzie and Harriet.
Yeah, and
Yes, and well, he gave me my first line. He was selling
Okay.
Christmas trees. I walked out, and I didn't have any lines. He said, "Could you say this?" I said, "Sure," you know. And anyway, we shot it again. My line was, "Sure was mighty good camping in there, Mr. Nelson," and that's what got me into show business. Next day, I
Boom.
joined Screen Actors Guild, paid my dues, and you know, a couple months later, he called me back again, and I did another Ozzie and Harriet. And between 1957 and 1960, I probably did a dozen episodes as a neighborhood kid. And in between, when we weren't shooting, I'd wander around the studio a lot. On the next stage over, there was a horse, so I was fascinated with that. Went over and talked to the trainer, and he said, "Hey, would you like to learn how to brush him?" And I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So he showed me how to brush the horse and feed him some carrots. I didn't know this at the time, but that was Mr. Ed. Was the
Oh,
horse.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and then on the stage across from stage 5, where Ozzie and Harriet were shot on General Service Lot, there was a dog on that show. It was kind of a basset hound. And I remember going over there, and they had a different trainer, but we kind of became buddies. And you know, he would show me how to do hand signals, and I just used to like to go out. I've always been a dog person, so
Oh yeah.
petting the dog. Anyway, one day I thought I got myself in trouble. This guy came up to me and looking down, and he's going, "Who are you?" You know, and I said, "Oh, hi." I shot out my hand, said, "My name's Stanley Livingston." And I think from that point on, I kind of charmed him. And, you know, he asked me a bunch of questions. And then I asked him one, I go, "Am I in trouble?" And he said, "No, you're not in trouble." He said, "But I would like to meet your mom." And I was like, okay, you know,
Yeah,
a little
she's
bit
married, man.
apprehensive. Yeah, so I led him back over to stage 5, where my mom, you know, was sitting with the other mothers, and said, "Mom, this guy wants to meet you." And anyway, he introduced himself, and I saw them talking for a while. So I figured I probably was in trouble, but it turned out the guy that I brought over was Jackie Cooper.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you know who he is. He was,
Oh,
besides
yeah.
Shirley
Yeah.
Temple, probably the biggest child star ever,
Oh,
you know.
my
But
goodness.
so anyway, what happened with that conversation was about 3 months later, I was doing a TV pilot for him. He was in a movie I believe it was 1934, called Skippy, which he
Uh-huh.
was the star of. And he decided to turn it into a TV pilot starring me as Skippy.
Oh,
And so we
wow.
shot the pilot in December of 1958. And it's funny, I never saw the pilot, because in those days we didn't have videotape, we didn't have
Oh yeah.
DVDs.
Right.
You know, basically, if you wanted to see it, you would have to rent a theater after
Oh
midnight and
geez.
borrow the print and show it. So that's what my parents and my agent did. They borrowed the print from him every time a movie would come up that I was up for, and show that. But because it was so late, I never saw it. And anyway, lo and behold, I guess it was about a year, 2 years later, I was up for another TV series,
Uh-huh.
even though I was still under contract to Jackie Cooper. And they rented this theater, and the producers came to see it. And the next day, I got hired to be Chip on My Three Sons.
Wow.
So at that
Wow.
point, it was just Fred McMurray and myself as the the only people that had been hired.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it took months, to get everybody else. They got, William Frawley played Bub. Most people remember him from I Love Lucy, Fred Mertz.
Oh yeah.
Tim Considine, who Fred knew from his Disney days. He had just done The Absent-Minded Professor,
Mhm.
Shaggy Dog, and Don Grady. and that became the final cast. Although we didn't really have Dawn at first. That's another whole casting debacle. We actually had Tim Considine, myself. The third son was a guy named Bobby Diamond. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a show called Fury.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. He was on that, but at this point got hired to play Robbie, and for some reason it didn't work out. We shot for a day, and then they decided to replace him, so we had to stop again. They replaced him with another actor. We started shooting again, and they said, well, this guy doesn't do comedy the way we think it should be done, so they got rid of him. And then my mom was friends with an agent named Mary Grady, who had a son named Don Grady, and called him up. He came in and he got hired, and we were shooting again a couple days later. And in the interim, they actually changed the name of the characters. We were, as the show was shot, Chip Douglas, Steve Douglas, that was the last name. When we shot the first 2 times, we were actually known as the McPhersons. I would have been Chip McPherson, Steve McPherson.
Really?
Yeah, I guess they decided to simplify it. I mean, I have no idea why they did that. I just
kind of Americanize it, really.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of Americanized, but still, I guess
Yeah.
there's some sort of Scottish link. But oh yeah,
Welcome to the McPhersons.
the McPhersons. Yeah, too ethnic.
Yeah.
That probably would have gone over better now than then.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the guy that they fired and let go to take Don Grady on, the guy that couldn't do what it called comedy, that was Ryan O'Neal.
Oh, really?
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So
wow.
yeah, he got let go, and everybody thought we'd never hear from him again. And lo and behold, taking place, and then became a huge movie star instead.
Right.
So God knows if that would have happened had he been on My Three Sons. Probably would have been the kiss of death for his movie career. But yeah, anyway, that I owe my whole career really to Jackie Cooper. Had I not done Skippy, and lo and behold, I said I never saw it. Well, 2 years ago, some guy contacted me, and I recognized his name, and I remembered he was my best friend in that pilot of Skippy, and I hadn't talked to this guy in 50 years.
Oh, wow.
So he sent me his phone number finally. I called him up and I said, all right, where do you live? And he's up by Frisco. And I said, oh, man, I'm down, Palm Springs. And he said, oh, well, I have a condo there. So I said, do you have a print? Have you ever seen Skippy? Oh, yeah, I've seen it a bunch. I said, well, how did you get to see it? I never saw it. He says, well, I have a copy on DVD. And I'm like, really?
Oh, my gosh.
I said, well, could you bring it? Yeah, so he came down. We went out to lunch and finally got to see Skippy. And it also turned out he had borrowed the print from Jackie Cooper. His mom did. And he was trying to do the same thing I was doing, which was borrowing the print, showing it to producers, and hopefully getting hired. But anyway,
what an ordeal.
Yeah, what an ordeal. But, after I saw the episode, I was like, wow, now I know why I got hired, as a kid actor. Because literally, I'm on screen 90% of the time, 95% of the time in Skippy, and had, almost all the dialogue. The show was just literally built around me. So it was, a really favorable piece of film to show on yourself at such an early age. And over the years, it was funny. I'd run into Jackie Cooper on the lot or some event and say, God, can I maybe come over to your place and you could find that print? I would just love to see it. And I remember I went over there twice. Once we looked in his attic and it was like tore up, and then another time he had me come back a couple years later. We went to his garage and he couldn't find it. Well, lo and behold, this guy, his name was Jay Potter, his mom, she was trying to become an actress too. She was beautiful. So I guess Jackie succumbed, gave her the print, and she just never returned it. So anyway, after we watched this DVD of Skippy, Jay goes out to the car and he said, here, you should have this, not me. And he gave me a film box. And lo and behold, it was the 16 millimeter print of Skippy in there.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, so I actually have the film now, although it's really degraded. As soon as I opened the box, I knew it wasn't going to be any good. It smelled like vinegar, vinegar and oil salad. But, just to have possession of it is probably my most prized possession.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, that's such a huge part of your history. I mean, even, if it's hell of a pile of good
I never really talked about it a lot, mainly because I never saw it and didn't know how the show came out. And, it just seemed like this thing you did that you just never thought you'd see again. So I
Right.
never
Well, and
mentioned it from that point on.
I just find it interesting that a DVD copy existed of a pilot that never got picked up from 1958. I mean, that's, well, like who saw it and said, "Okay, I need to convert this to DVD."
It was either Jay or his mom. I mean,
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
asked too
say.
many questions after he entered me. And
Right.
we had this one lonely little DVD that, I was dying just because I wanted to see it. Not that it would, if I was an actor, I wouldn't even show it. It's too far in the past,
Right.
Right.
But I have a DVD duplicator here, and I said, "Gee, would you mind if I copied this?" I said, "If you want, I'll make you another copy. You can keep this copy. I just would like to have it in my repertoire of work that I've done." So I have a machine that'll do like 16 DVDs at a time. So
Oh yeah.
popped the master in and popped out 8, gave him 8, and I kept 8 of them. And one of those
Nice.
became the
Yeah.
new master. That's the one good thing about those kind of files. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I've sent them to all my friends and people who knew I did the show but never saw it. And I said, "Hey, you want to see it?"
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
we lost his audio
We
again.
lost your audio.
Can you hold up the sign?
Yeah.
Chris?
Well, look, it's something with his. I think he's on his iPad or something.
Maybe. Okay, let's see. Just a
Well,
refresh, I guess,
But
of the
yeah. God, that's so
crazy.
cool. How
I
crazy
just,
is that?
I
though,
mean,
dude?
after all that time, being able to finally see what I
Well,
want to.
dude, but how much has times changed? I mean, his parents had to rent out a theater to show his stuff so he can get hired on,
Right.
for
Am I back?
audition. Ah,
We
there
got
you
you.
go. There.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody keeps calling me, and this person is probably going to persist, of course. Doesn't call except when I'm on Zoom, but I'm going to tear them up when this is over.
Yeah.
Oh, frustrating. Well,
So as an actor doing stuff, I know a lot of actors don't necessarily like to watch what they do. Do you, after you do something, do you like to watch it and just sort of?
no, I do it, and that's the end. I probably have maybe seen a fourth of the My Three Sons episodes. I never even watched those.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mainly
wow.
because you're in it. You know how it ends, and way back then there was no way to watch it. The only way to watch things were on, when it did reruns. So
Right.
My Three
Right.
Sons, because initially we were shooting 39 episodes a season.
Right.
So the reason for that was you shoot 39 and the month had 52 years. So it was like 13, 13, 13, and then 13 weeks you didn't work. So
Right.
that rounded
Yeah.
out 52 weeks. So what they would do is they would show 26 weeks and they would repeat those, and they wouldn't repeat
Right.
the other ones. You never saw those again. So by the time we got through doing that, there were a lot of episodes that people literally hadn't seen in,
Oh wow.
15 years. So when it went on to Nick at Night and what was
That opened up a
the
whole
other
new
one?
audience, didn't it?
TV Land was a whole new
Ye-
audience that had
Yeah.
never seen them. And then there was the original audience who probably would have liked to seen the black and white, but they didn't rerun them. They would only rerun
Right.
26 of them, and the other 13 wouldn't be rerun at all. So, it was a chance to
Now,
relive
did
your childhood, basically.
did you find it interesting? Okay, because like the Nick at Night that came out, that was developed right after the whole '80s. The like a
Well, that was the
this
beginning of cable TV, is what that
right,
was.
Right.
but
Cable
it
TV had finally looked like it was going to be viable, and the networks didn't want it to succeed by any means. They
right.
wanted to keep control of the content. So
Yeah, but I mean, the '80s were known as a very decadent age or whatever, and a wholesome, like all these wholesome, really down to earth shows, like got huge on Nick at Night. I mean, like I said, you opened up a
yeah,
whole new audience, and people I think were actually kind of craving that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, do you
yeah,
think the same
because
thing,
it was
or
the original kids that watched the show are now grown up and had their
right?
own kids and wanted to introduce the show to their kids. And by then VCRs had come along, so a lot of people would tape them at night and show them to their kids. But
Yeah,
it really caught on, I think, wildly more than anybody could conceive. CBS saw no value, especially in the first 200 shows we did were, black and white. So you had this
Yeah.
whole thing that CBS thought was worthless. Nobody else would, never watch it again. And then this guy came along, Sumner Redstone, and created a company called Viacom, which,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they licensed the material, and who knew?
And then boom.
Well, I mean, he made so much money off of, the early cable TV, because he also owned VH1 and
Yeah.
Oh, right.
MTV and all that. So he made so much money that he bought CBS. He bought the company that made the stuff that thought it
Wow.
didn't have any
Yeah.
value. And with the pocket change left over, he also bought Paramount Studios. So he
Oh,
did very well.
the pocket
Didn't
change.
pay us, but yeah,
Oh wow.
totally insane. But part of the paradigm for that was let's put it on cable and say there's no contract for the actors, and we'll just keep running this ad infinitum or ad nauseum. And guess
Oh,
what? We don't
yeah.
have to pay the actors.
Yeah.
It was really kind of creepy and crappy what he did, but
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
it
it is.
introduced and really made, I think, streaming, viable. It went into everybody's home by then. By the time Nick at Night had finally succeeded, where in the beginning, I don't know if you remember, they didn't have commercials. And then
Right.
finally they got a few commercials, and then finally it became like a network. And the whole United States at that time was, the 3 networks, and then this patchwork of 10,000 little fiefdoms that were the cable channels,
Yeah.
like Cox and Warner, and it was just, like I'm saying, 10,000 of these. So it had penetrated all 10,000 cable systems and had programming on, and you can imagine the advertising.
Oh God. Yeah.
10,000 channels running commercials like 10 times per half hour, and
Yeah.
then do the math.
Yeah.
That's how he
There's
got
some
rich.
revenue right
So,
there. Boom.
Yeah.
right. And then, had another great idea after 10 years. It's like, gee, what if we put this stuff on the daytime? We'll just call it TV Land, merge what we showed from Nick at Night over to TV Land and do it 24 hours a day. And
Yep.
maybe because it's playing on the daytime, we'll add the color shows as well as the black and white. So
Yeah.
for 20 years, My Three Sons was on every single day, multiple times a day.
Right.
And
Wow.
then other cable channels, Lifetime, Odyssey,
Right.
MeTV, ran it. So I think My Three Sons has literally been on the air since September 19th, 1960, when we came up on ABC.
Wow.
Then we went to CBS for the last 5 years. So the show ran 12 seasons. We did 380 episodes, but it's never gone off the air. It's either been
Yeah.
in prime
Yeah.
time, was in syndication for about 10 years till Nick at Night came along, and was Nick at Night for 10 years, and then TV Land for 10 years, and then a succession of other cable channels. And it's like 62 years later, it's never gone off. So
You're
Yeah.
everywhere,
proud of
man.
that.
Now, what was it like
Yeah.
when your brother came on the show? Because you had been on the show for a few years already, but then your little brother comes on, and
Yeah,
was
he
that
came on,
weird?
but no, not really. I should probably preface that to give you a little bit of background there too. Barry and I have actually worked twice before,
Okay.
My Three Sons. We did a film. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was called Rally Round the Flag Boys with Paul
Okay.
Newman and Joanne Woodward. And
Wow.
when you're a kid actor in those days, I'd go in. My mom would take me. And my little brother was there, because he wasn't old enough to stay home. And so my mom, brought him, and I got hired on the spot again to be Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward's son. And
Oh,
they said, well, we
geez.
need another. Who's that little kid there? And I go, that's my brother Barry. They go, well,
It's
he'd
just
be
my
perfect.
brother.
Right. And since there's no nepotism in show business, so yeah, Barry got the part. And he got the part. So what happened though was the first scene we shot was us staring at a TV set, watching TV. Paul Newman comes in the door after a day at work, and our challenge or acting instructions was keep your eye on the TV and don't take your eye off the TV. Don't say hello to him. Don't do anything. So he came in, hey boys, hi, how you doing? I'm home, and we don't respond. So he kind of walks into the kitchen where Joanne Woodward is, and he's like, "Oh, well, the kids don't even say hello to me anymore. What's with that TV? What is that thing?" And all of a sudden, a pillow comes in and hits him in the side of the head right when he's taking I don't know, martini or whatever he made. And so he's like, "You boys, go up to your room." He says, "I don't want to see you, listening to a TV set." So we shot it a couple times, and then the director said to my brother, "You're not looking at the TV set. You need to look right at it. Don't look away. Don't make your eyes move. Just be looking at the TV set." So we shot a couple more times, and for whatever reason, the director was getting more and more irritated with my brother. Finally, we broke, and they sent him to an ophthalmologist at noon. And by 1 o'clock, he was fired, and I had a new brother.
Oh, no
Oh,
way.
wow.
Oh, God.
Yeah. They went
Jeez.
over to some soundstage and pulled some other littler kid off some other show
Oh,
who was in school and
wow.
just said, "Well, we just need him for about an." So my poor brother is about 4 or 5 years old. He's in show business. He
Oh,
gets fired. And he was downtrodden, but it had a silver lining.
yeah.
After the whole thing was over, my brother went to an ophthalmologist again. It turned out he needed glasses. And,
Oh, wow.
all the kids in show business, they kind of looked alike. None of them had glasses.
Yeah.
And my brother got glasses and kind of pioneered this nerdy look, which was so different from everybody else. And he was a good actor even then, the stuff that he would do and the faces. And he was just a natural. So he started working with the glasses. In fact, the very next thing he did after getting fired, he did a movie with Jerry Lewis. And it's got one of the most probably funniest scenes in the whole movie. It was called The Errand Boy.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know if
yeah.
any of you have seen that.
Okay.
Remember the
Yeah.
scene where he's minding, I look like a studio store or something, and some kid comes in, wants 10 cents worth of jelly beans, and he has to drag the ladder up,
Oh,
go up
yeah.
to this
Oh, yeah, yeah,
enormous urn
yeah.
down, and he gives the kid,
yeah.
then he puts it back up and says to the next kid, "You want jelly? Well, what do you want?" He goes, "I want 10 cents worth of jelly beans." Got to go all the way up again, bring it down, get the kid 10 cents worth of
Lady, you
jelly
got to
beans.
get the jelly beans. Aye.
Right. So he starts to go up. Before he goes up, he goes, "Do you want 10 cents worth of these jelly beans, kid?" And my brother said, "No, sir." And so he goes up and puts it back. He comes down. He says to Barry, "So what do you want?" He goes, "I want 5 cents worth of those jelly beans." And Jerry Lewis goes crazy. But it was one of the funniest little bits. And anyway,
Oh,
he got my
that's
brother working again. So we did that. He did that movie. And then this was still while I was doing Ozzie and Harriet. And it turned out I knew I was already hired to be in My Three Sons, but we hadn't started shooting yet. And the studio allowed me to go back and do one more Ozzie and Harriet. And my brother, they wanted him too, because he actually he did another TV pilot that didn't sell. So we did one episode of Ozzie and Harriet together. It's the one where Ozzie orders some T-shirts and they're printed wrong, and he gives them to us at the end of the show. It's called the Welcome Back Skinny or Welcome Back Fatty, it says on it. And and we're like, well, we're thinking more like the Tigers or the Royals. He goes, "Well, wouldn't you want to call your team Welcome Back Skinny?" And we're like, "Thank you, Mr. Nelson, goodbye." And anyway, Barry was in that. In fact, if you watch, he's eating ice cream like all through the scene. That's how what do you call it? One of the motivational factors on Ozzie and Harriet for Kids was all the ice cream you could eat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah,
That's
he
great.
was
I would've
great.
worked
Yeah, he
there.
was just great at working with kids. Yeah, any kid would. I mean, every scene was either in a malt shop or at Ozzy's house or on his kitchen table with these big bowls of ice cream.
Yeah.
He was great. And then Barry came over to the show later. It started My
Yeah.
Three Sons at the original Three Sons, Don Grady, Tim Constant, and myself. The the end of the fourth year, Tim announced he wasn't coming back, and they had a problem because the show was called My Three Sons, so
Right.
that was going to become an issue. And by then, Barry had done a few episodes on the show as a friend. He was
Oh.
in some schoolroom scenes with me, or he'd pal around with me. I think we went camping in one of them, and just as a neighborhood kid, kind of like he was on Ozzie and Harriet. But
Right.
the producers loved him, and by now he'd done a couple movies. He did My Six Loves with Debbie Reynolds and what was his name? Cliff Robertson, David Jansen,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
and some other TV shows. So yeah, they wanted him. Basically, he said, "We'd like to have you be the third son," and they wrote some screenplays or some scripts for that, where he was a foster kid. His parents, foster parents, were going to move out of the United States and couldn't take him, and he was going to be put back up for adoption. And the Douglas family steps up to the plate, and over the course of about 6 episodes, that whole little story arc worked out. And by the 6th episode, Barry looking Fred McMurray in the eye and saying, "Can I call you Dad?"
Aw.
So it was very heartwarming, and people loved it. But if you missed those 6 episodes, you'd go, "Who the hell
who's
is
this
this
kid?
guy?"
Where's this kid? What the hell's going on here? Now,
and you never heard from Tim again. He just went into the Twilight Zone or something.
Yeah.
Tim they're like,
Because he
well, I
couldn't find
guess
a
Tim got
call, a
lost on the
phone, and
bus.
call us. Yeah. No telephones, no nothing.
Now, My Three Sons was really kind of a groundbreaking show, wasn't it? I mean, because for one, not only the premise of the single father raising the 3 boys, but first off, you had Fred McMurray, who again, huge star. I mean, he had also done Kane Mutiny. I mean, I know you named some of the movies he had done, but Kane Mutiny was right about then, wasn't it?
Kane Mutiny, it was about 1957, and then he started doing films for Disney. I did The Shaggy Dog, The Absent-Minded Professor, Son of Flubber, and then he just kept working at Disney in between seasons too. He did a lot of films for them.
And that was unheard
because they
of
didn't
back
pay
then.
his big fee. Well, they gave him a lot of shares in Disney, and by being in these films, the shares went way up because the movies all succeeded. So it was kind of a nifty little thing. I mean, his deal on My Three Sons was he was paid, I believe, $400,000 a year, which in 1960, probably like being paid $2-3 million or something. And he owned half the show, the profits. So he did well.
Yeah.
But My Three Sons, to be honest, wasn't really going to be My Three Sons. Don Feddersen, the executive producer of the show and the guy that came up with the idea for it, had actually approached some other actors to do it, and they weren't interested. Mainly, that was the odd thing about My Three Sons, was to get a guy like Fred McMurray to be on the show. I mean, you're talking about, he was at the height of his career, and he's probably the highest paid actor in Hollywood at that time. And it seemed demeaning to movie actors. Yeah, it would be demeaning for a movie actor to be stuck on a TV show. But he had his own reasons. He adopted twins and really didn't want to go off and make movies where you're gone 3 months, 6 months, and not see your kids. So he was kind of more receptive to the idea. And Don Feddersen eventually got to him and said, would you like to do this show? I'm doing a show called My Four Daughters. And he said, yeah, that sounds interesting.
But we're doing it with 3 boys.
The 4 daughters were also on a show that he was producing. I don't know. Probably you didn't watch it. I know I didn't want to watch it. Was Laurence Welk. Wasn't exactly.
No, I had to watch that show.
Yeah. I got to rather have my eye dug out with a spoon than watch that. But my parents loved it. But anyway, the show was going to be built around the Lennon sisters. And then it turned out they said no, they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to leave Laurence Welk. And so it was back to, we got to come up with an idea quick. And they decided to make it My Three Sons and go with boys instead of girls. Instead of 4, we'll save some money. We'll get 3 of them instead of 4 girls.
Got a little budget cut since things changed.
I think all the money we'll save on the clothing and the temperament, and, all that kind of stuff. So that's how I got cast. And he knew Bill Frawley, and so Bill Frawley came onto it. And, we pioneered out. But what was original about the show was it was an all-male household. Most of the shows that were complete families. Father Knows Best. You had a mom, dad, a son, a daughter. Leave It to Beaver, kind of the same thing. And they wanted to do something different. So that was probably very daring. I mean, it doesn't sound very daring now, but back in 1960, whether that would work or resonate with an audience, that was the problem. But it did, and all the women related to it because there was somebody there for everybody. If you're 8 or 9 years old, there was me. Don Grady was about 15, 16. Tim was about 17, 18. Fred was, I think he was probably in his late 40s, like 48, 49.
Right.
And then you had, Bill Frawley was, bringing in old women to watch the show, the grandmoms.
Oh yeah,
So
William,
we
he's
had
hot.
somebody. So that's pretty much what the shows entail. It was always Fred going out on a date with a nice looking, mature 30 to 40-year-old woman, and
Yeah.
I was always, I think in the beginning I wasn't interested in girls. They would be after me and trying to get me, and I just wanted to play with my dog or my bike or my
You got
what do they call
kitties,
those
go
things? Those,
away.
yeah, you could. Yeah, I might call them like clunky or whatever I call them. But as the show progressed, we got more interested in women, and at least we didn't do like what was that show? I'm thinking of Bonanza. Those guys, man, I'm like, these are mature guys. Shouldn't they be like dating? They're still
Yeah.
living at home when they're
Yeah, it's
40.
like
Right.
after a
What's
while
that
you're like,
all
okay,
about?
guys,
Right.
it's cool. You can meet chicks. It's cool. It's
Right.
fine. Now you were actually on
Yeah.
Bonanza too, weren't you?
No, I never did do a Bonanza. What we did though with Bonanza, it's kind of interesting. I think it was around 1963. We were sponsored by Chevrolet, so were they, and so was Route 66. And they
Yeah.
decided to do this enormous, by enormous, I mean, instead of a 30-second commercial, we did a 5-minute long commercial. And it showed, I think only one time or maybe a couple times, only on Bonanza. They made a
Huh.
Bonanza episode where they shortened it by 5 minutes so they could show this commercial. And it had
Wow.
all the cast members of My Three Sons and from Bonanza and Marty Milner and George Maharis from Route 66. And yeah, we were out having a picnic together, and they introduced all these cars. In fact, I think that was where they introduced the new Stingray, the one with the split window in the back. Now, I
Oh
was,
yeah.
when I was a kid, I never saw a car like that, so I was completely in love, but I was probably about 4 years before I could drive. But I remember Tim and Don were all over that car driving it in between shots and
Oh
stuff.
my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that
pretty
car is
pretty
epic.
neat. But I knew some of the guy. I
427.
knew Dan Blocker. Oh yeah, the engines on those. Oh my God, yeah. And one of the first cars, or one of the few cars to be, have a fiberglass body.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh,
That's
that
right.
was
dude.
kind of
And
Yep.
interesting
and that split
at that
window
time too.
was only for a couple of years, I think, right? And then
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had one window that wrapped over it.
yeah,
Kind of like
then
the
they just made it one
Barracuda
big
had that
one.
big window later. Yeah, no, it was
Oh
great
God, they're
car.
beautiful
Just
cars.
yeah, I even like
Okay.
the original Corvette. It was great, but anyway, yeah. So we did this commercial and it ran, and I guess a few people see it. I know if you go to YouTube, I think it's still up there somewhere.
Oh, I'm
If you look it
sure.
up
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything's on
it's
YouTube.
interesting to see all those people. Well, I knew Dan Blocker. Somehow after that, we sort of became buddies on a set, despite our age disparity. And I decided he was going to become my friend. So we shot on Desilu, which was contiguous with Paramount.
Yeah.
But I could go into Paramount Studios at lunch hour, whenever I wanted, and I'd go from watch him shoot Bonanza. He was a really nice guy.
Wow.
He'd go to lunch with me all the time. So I'd eat lunch with Haas and talk
Oh.
horses, I guess, or something. I don't know.
That's so
Probably talking
incredible.
about that Corvette. Yeah, he used to call me little buddy. But
So okay, so
yeah.
after My Three Sons, you did what did you have like were you like, okay, I got to take a break for a while, like were your parents like, okay, you need to chill out and just be a boy
No,
for a
I
while, or did
needed.
they just put you right back into another show? What happened at that point?
Well, well, My Three Sons really wasn't over for me until I was about 22, almost going on 23 by the time the last episode aired. But when I was probably about 16, I really got interested in film production,
Mhm.
and I, bugged everybody to learn everything I could about cameras and lenses and viewfinders and parallax and
And
all the different film emulsions. Then I went up and pestered the guys in editing, and they taught me how to edit on a Moviola. And
right.
then
Oh,
I'd go
wow.
up to where the production company was, where they had the production boards. We had a really cool assistant director who literally taught me everything about putting production boards together and why you want to slate this at the beginning of the shoot and this towards the end. And if you got somebody like Fred Mcmurray in there to get them shot out as quick as you can. But a lot of the tricks of the trade. And when I was about 18, I formed a production company and with another guy, and we went out and tried to get work. We were doing
Yeah.
educational videos, music videos, whatever
Just
we
whatever
could
you could
shoot and
grab.
then edit. We wanted to do. Yeah, not high profile stuff, but you learn how to cut your teeth. And so I
Right.
got started there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing for me, unlike most of my friends, when I graduated high school, yeah, immediately went to college, but I had to go to night school. So I originally started at Los Angeles City School because I had a night program there.
Uh,
So from the time I was 18 to the time I was 22, 4 nights a week, I would go to night school. So they made a deal with me where they would let me off at 6 o'clock no matter what happened. So I had an hour to drive in to Hollywood because we'd moved to the Valley by then at CBS
oh
Cinema
wow.
Center.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I'd be in school from 7 to 10 o'clock at night, come home,
Ugh.
have to do my homework, learn my lines. And
Oh
then
Lord.
to add
Jeez.
to that, I got married and I had a kid when I was 19.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was married,
Wow.
a dad, and so I had to carve out time, and then here and there I was, I was 18. It was the 60s and 70s, so
Yeah.
a
Oh
little
Oh,
yeah,
nuts.
yeah.
man.
So
Far out.
couldn't do it too much because I had to show up the next day and learn my lines. And,
Yeah.
never late, never missed a day shoot. I mean, I just
Nice.
prided myself on, you just be there.
It's
If you want to stay
incredible.
up to 4 in the morning, you got to get up at 6, and that's what you got to do. We don't, I didn't want
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. The
come in and
rare
fall
work ethic
asleep
we
or,
don't see nowadays from young folk. Um.
yeah. Well,
Uh.
I think it served me well.
Oh
But
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
yeah,
No.
so I,
absolutely.
started doing things behind the scenes, and I was still acting in those days too. So whatever came up, crappy movies, TV shows, Room 222, I remember I did,
Yes.
and
Yes. I saw that on your.
uh,
I was like, oh my gosh. I used to watch that show as a kid all the time. Room 222. I don't know why. My sisters and me, we loved that show, and I totally, it was just when I saw that on there, I was like, oh my gosh. I couldn't believe it. So that was
yeah, it
awesome.
was really a well done show. And yeah, one of the producers, I think he might have been the executive producer, was one of our original directors. The first year was directed by a guy named Peter Tewksbury,
Uh-huh.
and he was sort of famous for Father Knows Best. He was just
Okay.
really good with family shows. And the
Right.
first season, he was our director, and he basically set all the characters up in the tone of the show. And I mean, without him, I don't know, that show, I don't think would have been the same. He was just so meticulous about the scenes, and if it didn't like something, we'd shoot it over and over and over until we got it right. And yeah, he was a real taskmaster. The second year, we had a guy named Richard Wharf, who was another old time director, but really
Hmm.
gifted. And then the third and fourth year was Gene Reynolds, who I don't know if that name resonates, but
Yeah.
he was the executive producer on Room 222. He was the producer of MASH, Lou
Oh, wow.
Grant.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I mean a lot of TV shows, but he was also a former child actor, so we really hit it off. And he was one of the two or three mentors I had my whole life. He just passed away, I think it was a year or so ago, but we'd have lunch 2 or 3 times a year.
Nice.
Just the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. And then later on the show, we had a director who went on. Well, he was already sort of famous in Hollywood anyway, and to the industry. A guy named Fred DeCordova. Fred was the producer on Johnny Carson for probably about
Aha.
the last 15 years of the show. And
Mm-hmm.
he was our director for about 5 or 6 years, and did some Elvis movies. I think he did Viva Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, baby.
He did some of the Bonzo movies. I don't know how far back you guys
Oh
go.
God. No.
I'm ancient history here,
No.
so
I've seen
no
those.
time for Bonzo. But
Well.
TV came along, and then he cut his teeth. He was the director of all the Burns and Allen show, and then the Jack Benny show.
Okay.
Oh,
So
Oh,
good.
he was a
Oh, wow.
well-seasoned director,
Yeah.
but he was just in real life I mean, the coolest guy, but just had the most interesting, dominant personality I've ever seen on anybody, and I mean, he was like a force of nature.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
didn't
dude, and the
F with him.
stories he could tell about all
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
About the different people, but just the way he handled it. So that's what I really, it didn't matter whether you were the guy that was doing coffee and donuts on the set, But when you hear Fred McMurray, he talked to everybody the same.
Yeah,
The same.
that's awesome.
And he was known because he started off on Broadway and kind of made a name for himself and knew everybody. And because of this personality type, people gravitated towards him. And he just was always like in control of every situation that could be. And, I just thought, wow, what a great persona. I wish I could be like that. Especially when I was about 16, 17, 18, I just looked at him and thought, God, that's the guy I'd like to be. He just was an amazing person and knew everybody. I mean, he knew like President Eisenhower came down to visit
Oh,
him.
wow.
Oh my gosh.
He introduced him to Fred McMurray. He was friends with, there was a jockey who was very famous. His name was Johnny Longfellow or something like that.
Oh
No,
my
Willie
gosh.
Shoemaker. Willie Shoemaker.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Ronald Reagan would come
Wow,
down
yeah.
all the time because they played cards together at night, and then they'd all play cards with Jack Benny and
That would be
George
amazing.
Burns. So yeah, this guy just
Oh my gosh.
they were like his pals, and they all were catering to him. So you saw who was in control there. It was just really amazing.
Wow.
And a lot of people
Good.
don't
Yeah,
know, 'cause
especially with those guys, Jack Benny and
Yeah.
oh my God, George Burns. Whew. Dude,
yeah,
that's
well,
that's
even when the
some
show was
grand
going,
company
we
right there.
had William Paley drop in on the set, from CBS, who owned the
Yeah.
show, owned the network, to see, him and Fred McMurray. I mean, the show was really treated unusually by the networks. And that was primarily because they knew they had something because of Fred McMurray. Like I said, it was
Right.
unheard of for somebody of his caliber to be doing a show. I mean, I liken it today, but maybe 10 years ago, it would be like having Michael Douglas, or
Yeah.
Mel Gibson doing a TV show.
I was gonna say, yeah, or
yeah.
what's his crazy boy? What's his name? Tom Cruise. It was
yeah.
guys.
That's actually a very
Guys that are just in their prime and
right.
demand
Well, it'd be like a
$1 billion
Tom
contracts.
Cruise right now doing it. Yeah, Tom Cruise
Yeah.
right now said, "Hey, I got kids. I don't want to go anywhere." He would be the perfect candidate to be like that. And people go, "What? You got
Yeah.
Tom Cruise doing a series?" That's how it was when Fred came to the show. People were just like, couldn't believe he was doing a series, and the networks knew it, and they're busy, catering to him,
And what
kissing his butt all the time. So.
what a great and I think it's really cool that he said, listen, I'm going to raise my kids, so this is I'm going to do this because I want to do that. I think that's just a great statement right there. And just a guy like that, because he could have just said, I ain't doing no TV show. I'll see my kids in a few months. I'm going to go out here and make a few million and blah blah blah. Nope.
Right. Let me know when they grow up. I'll be back.
Yeah. But
I mean, I that's what I'm saying with the show was really a hotbed for a lot of really good role models. And, I don't know why, because a lot of kids were on shows and, they had their egos and, wanted to spend money. I saw how he was. He was very parsimonious with his money. And he conducted it. I never saw Fred go crazy on a set because he was mad at something. He'd see him go over and talk to the director, and then the producer would come down, and then a couple of writers would come down, and we'd be waiting. But if you've been on sets before, man, you can see people have meltdowns, especially the stars.
Oh yeah,
never saw him do that. I mean, the way he conducted himself and everybody, from the director. So. I just thought they were great role models for me if I was going to try and continue on. And, I just, I like working. I don't care about the other side. I don't care about mansions. I don't care about big cars. And, I just want to work. The heck with everything else.
Speaking of that, I heard a very interesting story. You were doing some stained glass work for a while?
I was, it was very therapeutic.
And
it was about 1981, 82. And I lived in Laurel Canyon then. Actually, I lived there for 42 years, through the height of the hippiedom. In fact, the house that I was in actually was a rental house at one time. And a lot of people from the music industry and movie industry had rented it. And my parents owned it, and I sold my house in the valley, and I wanted to live in Laurel Canyon, so I bought the house from them. So I kind of knew its history. There was, what was his name? Richie Furay. lived there. In fact, I think the
Oh,
last tenant, and that's when my dad, he's getting older and just said, I can't do this anymore. Coming up and
right.
fixing the house every time somebody'd move out, and there'd be gunshot holes in the wall
Oh
and
God.
dog poop that
Wow.
wasn't picked up. Yeah, so the last tenant, she kind of like abused the house. It was like Katie Seagal. I don't know what that was all about. So he
Oh,
asked me, he said, hey, you want to come up and help me again? I'm like, all right. And so I said, hey, Dad, you know what? I sold my other house. I lived in an apartment for about 6 months. Like, can't stand it. I want to buy another house. If you want to sell this, I'd like to live here, so I'm going to buy it from you. And so that's what happened. I moved
Oh
up
wow.
there.
okay.
But yeah, being there was a great place because at that time, it's just every musician, the whole Laurel Canyon legend was
Right.
kind of
Oh
all
yeah.
around
Yeah.
me. And then I sort of added to it. In 1982, I decided to take a break I thought I'd take a 6-month break. And I was around the house one day, and I've always painted. I actually do watercolor, oil, pen and ink, charcoal, whatever.
Nice.
And I thought, gee, you know what? I wonder if I could do stained glass. And so I started dabbling in it. And my house was literally on Laurel Canyon. So when I opened my garage door, it faced the street, and Laurel Canyon's a pretty well-traveled venue if you want to go to the valley.
Oh yeah.
There's
Hmm.
probably 10,000 cars a day go up and down the canyon. So
Yes.
anyway, I wasn't really intending on selling anything. I did a piece of glass. I think it was pretty big. It was like 2x3, and I go, where can I? Because my garage is just jam packed with junk, and so I just kind of hung it on the garage door, put a hook there, and then I was behind it doing another one. It was about the third day. While I was in the garage, somebody pulled in my driveway, which to pull my driveway takes almost an act of God, because people are afraid to
Well,
pull
yeah,
over.
coming off Laurel
It's like, how
Canyon.
am I going to
Yeah.
pull out? How am I going to pull out, kind of thing. And everybody would come in at the wrong angle and bash their bumper or their air dam under their car. But anyway, yeah, this guy said, hey, I saw that stained glass. That wouldn't be for sale, would it? And I said, well, no, I'm just a guy. I'm just doing it. He said, well, would you want to sell it? And I was like, well, I wouldn't even know what to ask. I don't know.
Yeah.
He says, well, would you take $100 for it? And I was like, my head immediately went, I paid $5 for the frame and $2 for the glass. Okay. I'm not a dummy. So
So
these hooks handed to him. He gave me $100 bill, and the guy drove off with I think it was a unicorn, if I remember right. And
Oh
so I
wow.
thought, well, that was weird. I wasn't expecting that. So anyway, the unicorn was gone, and I was just in there, the next day. I'd only be out there from like 4 to about 7.
yeah.
Because I usually
Okay.
had stuff to do in the daytime. So I'm there, and then a couple days later, some other guy pulled in the yard, and he said, hey, what happened to that stained glass piece that was hanging there? I said, oh, some guy bought it. And he's like, well, could you do another one? And I'm like, yeah. And so he said, how much was it? I said, it's $100. And I said, come back in about a week. So I didn't even get a deposit. I didn't know what I was doing. So came back in a week. I had it done. He took it. And then the very next day, somebody else pulled in and said, I saw you do stained glass. He said, could you do this? And he had a little tiny sketch about
Yeah.
that big of I don't know what it was supposed to mean, but it was an eagle on the left side, and then a little mountain, and then there was a goat on top of it. And I said, yeah, I can do that. So he said, how much? I said, well, this is custom work. So it's $200.
Yeah.
And he said, fine. He said, I'll
Oh
give you
wow.
half now and half when I pick it up. So I did that. Anyway, every day between October and December, people are, pulling in. And like I said, I was buying the glass. So I told the people there, and they said, well, what are you doing? I said, I showed them a couple pictures that I took. They go, oh, that's great. How much do you sell them for? And I said, well, I sold these two for 100 and this one for 200. And their eyes went, that's it? I'm like, well, what should I be asking? They go, you should be asking about $400 or $500.
Oh
What
You
are you
wow.
ripped
selling them
off,
every
man.
day, dummy? Yeah, so I thought, well, let me try 3, and if it goes well, I'll move it up to 4. So anyway, by the end of the year, I think I'd made like $10,000 doing these
Oh my
glass
goodness.
pieces.
That's crazy.
So I'm like
Just
thinking
for
to
hanging
myself,
out
well,
in your garage.
I love it.
yeah, I go, this could actually be a business. I mean, it wouldn't have worked anywhere else. It had to be Laurel Canyon because
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
instead of
yeah,
having
that's the
10,000
only place where
annoying
that would have
cars
worked.
going by, I had now 10,000 customers is the way I changed my point of view.
Now,
And so, yeah,
didn't you
it
have
wasn't
a
that. It was the people that I was meeting. I ended up, while I was in it, I met Hugh Hefner bought one from me.
I was going to say you had a couple of
Sherman
interesting
Hemsley.
customers.
Yeah, Sherman Hemsley. I'm trying to
Oh,
think of all the
wow.
people. Michael Jackson. Yeah, people just pulling your heart, and they didn't know who I was, and I didn't know. Some of them I knew who they were, or
Yeah.
I figured out later. Well, wow, I think that guy was Hugh Hefner. Go look up a picture of him. And go, yeah,
Well,
that
and
was him.
I heard Bob Denver was one of
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
he was like one of the
Who
first
else?
ones, right?
Yeah, early on, I had a lot of celebrities pulling in. Not only that, but guys from music groups, Stephen Stills, the guys from Styx, not Styx,
Wow.
Kiss.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
Yeah, so I just sit there and chat with them, and they didn't
What
know
did
who I
they
was,
want
and I
on
didn't
their
tell.
Sting list?
I had a
I was just
beard.
going to say, what did Gene Simmons want? He's like, I want this big tongue and lots of blood.
No, you
Want lots
wanted.
of blood.
I forgot who was dating some very attractive looking starlet, and he bought right off the rack. I had a Perot clowns, one of those French clowns that are in the white outfit with
Oh,
the
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
tight
yeah.
black hat, and that's what she wanted. So he bought it. Yeah, it
Well,
was amazing to me. And then I'd have people come back later going, I bought this piece from you. Do you remember? I go, yeah. He goes, well, I didn't know who you were when I bought it. I said, well, it's signed. So they were all freaking out. But I would have that happen a lot where, I didn't look like myself. And basically, remember how, oh gosh, I'm trying to think, the lead singer for the Eagles, not Glenn Fry, the other guy,
Don
Don
Henley?
Henley.
Don Henley. Don Henley. I kind of looked like Don Henley then. I kind of did my hair in like a, what do they
Big
call
old
it, permanent
fro
or
and
something like that? Yeah. Yeah, my girlfriend did
and
that. And then I
big
had a
old
big full
beard.
beard. Yeah. So I was just kind of into the starving artist look, I guess is what it was. But I wasn't starving. I was doing really well. I couldn't believe it. But
Yeah. Jeez.
anyway, I did it for about 4 or 5 years, and then not even that long, probably about 3 years, and then I kind of started back to work with production work again, and started,
Right. And
shooting
now
stuff. And
you produced quite a few films. Now,
yeah, I
one of them I
did a
thought
film
was very
called
intriguing.
Checkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, which one? Checkers, or
Uh,
trying to think of I did another
Checkers.
TV pilot. Actually, with Sherman Hemsley.
Um,
We did a show called L.A. Rocks.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
What
and
about
I did a Cinerama film.
that's
Yeah,
yeah,
Cinerama.
that's the 60-foot centerfolds? Attack of
Oh,
the
I did that
60-foot
too.
centerfold?
Yeah, Tag of the 60-foot centerfold.
How can you forget that one?
Yeah,
The 60-foot centerfold. It's like every guy's dream. They're like, oh wow.
yeah. The odd part was that girl was. I don't even think she was 5 feet tall. That played the
That's
centerfold.
funny.
Yeah, she stuck out further than she was tall, basically.
Wow.
But yeah, whatever come up, you just do it. Did a lot of music videos again. You just you shoot and you edit. That's what I like to do. So,
Right. Now,
and I'm kind of different than a lot of directors. I mean, I'm actually a hands-on camera guy, hands-on editor.
Oh, wow.
I know how to light. I don't need anybody else there. Basically, is what I'm saying. Know how to
Yeah.
set up the mics. I got
so
great
you're a
microphone,
control
great
freak is
mixer.
what you're saying.
No, I'm a guy that believes in covering your ass. Like,
Yes.
I remember I did a
Yes.
film once, and about 3 in the morning, I looked over, and the sound guy was standing up, but his head was down, and he had the
Oh,
microphone
geez.
pointing over there. I go, why don't you go home and get some sleep? So I re-rigged the mic. Unfortunately, it didn't have to move. So, in fact, on the film, I think at the end, when I was doing the credits, I put a credit in there for a guy named Mike Stand. Because we
Oh,
ended up
that's
that is
having to use that
awesome.
so much.
That's
Oh.
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, that would happen quite a few times, that you hire people, and then that's why I say you need to know this, because you can get somebody who can really F your sound up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh
could
yeah.
just look over, and the guy is just slightly over here, and I'd have to walk by, take my hand, push the mic back over this way, and go, it needs to be pointed at his mouth, not his forehead and not his ears. Otherwise, you're off axis, So part of his a teaching experience for everybody else. And then I'd run back, get the mixer set up, and then go stand by the camera guy. And sometimes I had same thing would happen then. I go, your framing's off. And they're
Right.
like, what? I go, your framing is off. I said, you need to move the camera to the right because the guy is looking to the left. I don't want his nose touching that side of the frame. And it's like, you know what you need to do? You need to go to a museum and look at pictures where there's people in them and see where they're positioned and see which
Right.
way they're looking. Or if
Yeah.
it's 2 or 3 people in it, look where they are in the frame. That's what you need to learn how to do. And then you bring that to the camera.
And skip the
Otherwise, you're never
Salvador
going to
Dali
frame anything right.
section there. Yeah.
Right.
So-
You'll be melting down anyway
Right.
after a couple days.
Especially
So-
after a little bit of this coffee, man.
So you talked about your
Yeah,
experiences, sort of, when you were younger on sets, just sort of mirroring all the other people, getting to know all the ins and outs of when you're sort of writing and directing and being super hands-on, director, producer for your projects. Are any younger people coming up to you and wanting to mirror you in your process?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I think here's the thing. I did a project, and actually, you could wipe My Three Sons off my resume and put this one in because this is something I felt like I did for the entire, industry for actors. I created this project. It was probably about 10 years ago. We shot it, and unfortunately, with the first financial debacle that came around, shut me down right around the time we were beginning to actually sell a lot of these, and we were going to have a distributor who went out of business.
Oh, yes.
And
I know what you're
I
going to.
created this program called The Actor's Journey, is what it was.
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason I did it is, every actor I've ever met, most of them go to, some kind of school for actors, whether it's
Right.
a mom pop school or, the actor studio in Hollywood or actor studio in New York, Yale or Harvard, or even if you go to LACC, they get some kind of training in actor. And as an actor, most of them come out pretty good. I mean, they're good up on
Yeah.
stage. They've learned the technicalities of doing it. And if they have, some inner creative need to do it, and they have natural abilities, then they have a good chance of succeeding. But the problem has always been since the beginning of time. I could see this over 20 years. I said, "Oh God, this is terrible. This guy is so good, doesn't know how to get an agent, can't get out on casting calls." And I thought somebody should do a program not on the acting part of it, the acting skills, but the non-performance skills, the business
The
skills
real
that you
life
need to be
Yeah.
an actor.
Right.
There's nothing there. I'd look at, NYU, you'd look at UCLA, they're all acting classes. And, they teach you, they take your money, and then they go, good luck. And you're
Right.
not going to have good luck because you don't know much about the business or how it works or how you
Yeah.
interact with all the various people you're going to have to interact with. And, try not to step on toes or piss somebody off or what the protocols are. So I created this program called The Actor's Journey. And I wasn't even quite sure, all the side. I mean, I knew in my mind what I wanted. So it ended up
Yeah.
being a 10-hour long program. So,
Oh,
and it
wow.
covers about 65 topics. Most people, if you're going to be an actor, about maybe 10 of them. You get some
Yeah.
photos, some headshots, a resume. You try and get an agent, a manager. The very trying to Screen Actors Guild, and all those are things you should do. But sometimes there's a particular order to it that you don't know about or nobody tells you. And again, you can F yourself up right in the beginning by doing them out of work.
Yeah.
So I somehow got 100 of my friends to step up to the plate. I didn't want to be the guy teaching it. So I got 100 people that I knew, actors, producers, directors, agents, talent managers, every way you could look at the business side of being an actor from these people.
Right.
Had the, what do you call it, the president of the Screen Actors Guild, the president of the
Yeah.
Directors Guild of America, about 10 people that sit on various boards that make decisions that affect actors. And, if you're privy to this material, it can really help you. So I put together a 10-hour long program. We put it out originally on DVD. It was a 8-volume set. about a little over an hour on each one, 75 minutes if I remember right. So it totaled about 10 hours all told, and it's just strictly related, to the business side of being an
The
actor.
bare bones
But it's a
business
really,
cool.
of acting and
yeah, I couldn't believe the people that stepped up, to the plate because, I had some friends that I asked too. They said no,
Yeah.
but most of them said yeah. But that's Michael York, Henry Winkler.
Oh, wow.
Trying to think, Sherman Hemsley, Richard Donner, one of the
Oh,
big directors of all time. He did the Superman movies and
yeah.
yeah.
We
Lethal Weapon films.
just
The
we just
Omen.
lost him. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I knew him most of my life too. 1961. I'd already started My Three Sons, and I did his
Oh.
first feature film as a director. He was kind of known as a TV director then, but I did this film called X-15 with him. And Charlie Bronson was the star of it.
Right.
There was Mary Tyler Moore's first feature film, and
Yeah.
little
No,
me.
my wife and I watch Scrooged every year for Christmas, and that was
Yeah.
one of his movies. That's one that I that I just love, and I always love that he puts himself in his movies as well, and he's in that board. He's in like the soundboard at the end of the movie, yelling at the screen.
Right.
So I'm a huge Richard Donner fan. I could talk to you for an hour about Richard Donner probably, because I'm a big fan of a lot of his work.
Guy.
Yeah.
I love the Goonies. Goonies is
Oh God, the
probably
Goonies.
Oh God,
that
yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah, even though
actually,
I saw it as an adult, I'm a kid basically.
And now is that? I mean, I know you made it like a DVD series. Is that available on as in like something you sell over the internet now, or is that something you've kind
Well,
of
we
held
pulled
off
it
on?
back, because of what happened. Yeah, we held back. Like I said, we were doing really well. I had Backstage going to do a whole article on it, like a 1-page full article to introduce it to actors and stuff that, there are people that are at the inception of their careers and could use it the most. There's this little period of time where you come out of college, you've come out of an acting school, and there's a lot of hubris. I'm going to be the greatest actor ever. And anyway, they get out there and go, I'm not booking many. What's wrong? What am I doing wrong? I just spent $100,000. I'm good as an actor. I know that because people say that, but I don't know what I'm doing. What should I be doing when I'm not acting? And that's kind of what this thing teaches you is, listen, you're going to have an acting career, maybe. And if you have a very successful one where you worked a lot, at the end of your career, you took it all and you thread it up on a projector, you're going to be able to watch it maybe for a week, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah. Right.
If you run it 24 hours a day, and then you're going to figure out if you're like 70, that the other 69 and a half years, you were looking for work. And you find out that the work really wasn't the work. The work was getting the work. And when you actually got the work, that was the reward for all the work you did to get the work.
Right.
So that's, kind of giving people a different mindset on this. But
now,
basically there's so many realities you have to come to grip with to make this work. And it's coming from you all sides. The other side of it is wherever you drop into it, whether you're 18 or there's some actors that don't even start till they're 60 or 70, because things are coming at you in all these different directions, and you've got to be able to be equipped to handle it, even though you haven't worked sometimes. It's nice to have something you can rely on, so you go, oh yeah, I remember I saw that in this program, to help me get through it, or this
and you
is
can go
what
back
this
and
meant.
reference it all.
You can go back and reference it all. Yeah, we set it up that way, and I thought at some point that's the reason I did it as a 10-hour program. I thought, well, maybe this would be something I would eventually teach in some place like UCLA, because, again, they're doing a service. They're teaching actors how to act, but the disservice they're doing them is not telling them that
the business of acting.
It looks the business, and it's not 50-50. It's not this is one half and this is the other. The acting part is maybe 10% and 90% is the other. Because if you don't have that, you're never going to get to do the acting, professionally anyway.
Right.
So yeah, they're kind of derelict in their duties by, not having something like this. But who knows? Maybe somebody will come to their senses sometime and go, wow.
So you brought up kind of a point, because I know you've done a lot of producing and stuff now, and coming off of that, how you have you're trying to show these guys that are coming out, you say they've got great talent, stuff like that, and they've gone to all these, the school, and they've done their acting classes and whatnot. Now, how many times have you seen people that have hardly had any training, but have just come in and like they were an extra, but you see something in them and you're like, I'm going to put you in this role and I want you to do this. And I mean,
Yeah.
have you come across that a lot, or is that
Not a
just one
lot,
of those
no, but it
rare?
does happen. I know people that have come out here just with the desire to act and had no acting training, didn't even bother to go to acting school, and
Right.
got hired, because they had a unique look or a unique personality, and the other side, they weren't intimidated, by the
Yeah.
business or the people they were meeting, that crossed over into our industry and served them well. Not a lot of times, and most people, unfortunately, are going to have to learn that side because they're not like that, or they're not going to be that lucky.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
takes a lot of luck. When I was a kid actor, I knew Brandon Cruz was,
Yeah.
Courtship of Eddie's father.
Courtship,
Mhm.
I was going to say Courtship of Eddie
I
Father.
didn't act at all. Just his mom wanted him, try and get work as an actor. Took him on the interview, and he got hired. First job, and got a series. That
Oh,
happens.
wow.
It does happen. It doesn't happen a lot,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
or Paul
yeah.
Lamette is a buddy of mine. He was in American Graffiti, and he didn't have a lot of acting experience, and went out and auditioned for American Graffiti, and he had a look. And he's a pretty straightforward guy, and did a good job on the interview and got hired. A
Wow.
lot of the people there had auditioned over and over. I know Ron Howard did. Some of the other, Richard Dreyfuss was another person I would call a natural. I mean,
Yeah.
every time you saw him,
Yeah.
there was somebody. If I was a betting person, I would have put every cent down on him having a career.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but he's one of those guys. He adapts to every role so well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those guys. You watch him, you're just like, it's like they wrote this part for him, and
Yeah.
it's like a Neil
He's my
Simon
favorite.
play or something, and he's
Oh yeah.
just
Well,
so.
Neil Simon did write that for him.
Oh,
Yeah,
did he?
Goodbye Girl. He wrote it for
Goodbye
him.
Girl.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
written for Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh,
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
not know that. Well,
yeah.
there goes my
A lot
theory.
of people that parts, where they're doing well, and not unbeknownst to you, behind the scenes, people look at you and go, "I just like that guy's personality or his character on screen." You look at somebody like Randy Quaid.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
guy
yeah.
just has a great, personality that transformed to acting. But other people
Yeah.
don't, and sometimes you don't get seen or recognized. That's one of the things we talk about in the actor's journey. Sometimes you just got to be in that room a bunch of times. So it's really important to
Yeah.
get in the audition
Yeah.
room.
Exposure.
And that's what we tell people. Forget the role. If you get that, you're really lucky. What you need to do is learn how to audition, because that's the most intimidating thing you're probably going to do. After you got the part and it's yours, you can
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you don't know how to audition, you're never going to work. And there's people out there that pay their dues. They do little parts. Look at Harrison Ford. I mean, he
Oh
had
God.
that, hardly any scenes. Finally got into American Graffiti because he was a carpenter and was
I was going to say
working
he
on
was.
George Lucas's house. And he
Yeah.
said, "Hey, look, I need somebody to come down and read lines with these people off screen. Would you? I know you're an actor, and I'll help you at some point. But could you just do me a favor? Come down and read the lines while I shoot, film on these people for the audition." So
Right.
he did that over and over and over, and that's how he ended up in American Graffiti. But then, you would think he would have known, hey, he was okay in that movie. And meanwhile,
Right.
they're doing a film called Star Wars and couldn't figure out who to get,
Well, it was Space Pirates
for
first.
for Han Solo. It's like, we need a guy, and they went through every actor in Hollywood that was around that age and younger. And
One of
I
which
forgot
was
who it
Richard
was. It was
Dreyfuss.
producer. Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss. What was that other guy?
Al Pacino.
Had kind of curly hair. Tons of people, but anyway, what it boiled down to, somebody was just there while they were shooting all these other people, and he finally turned to George and said, "There's your actor. There's your Han Solo right there." He's like,
Yeah.
"What?" The guy doing the lines off stage. He's got a great read. He's like sarcastic, and and he suddenly realized it was him. And then they did the same thing to him again.
Oh God.
What was it?
Well, he was working
Indiana
on the
Jones?
sets there too,
They cast
right?
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just did whatever he could do to be around George Lucas at that point. That was a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
bet. and George was throwing him some bones and allowed him to get some TV work and stuff like that. But after he became Han Solo, they did the same thing on Raiders of the Lost Ark. In fact, the guy they had written it for was Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
And Tom had just signed the contract for Magnum, and they wouldn't shoot around him. Talk
Yeah.
about horrible luck.
Yeah.
And again,
but
somebody had to point out, it's like, see that guy right there? That's the guy you want. It's Indiana Jones. The guy who was in your last two big movies. And you got the part. But it just shows you, even if you're doing good, you're a good actor, and you're there. These people are like dopey sometimes. It's just very strange.
well,
But, same thing in My Three Sons. God knows who they wanted before they had Fred McMurray.
yeah.
Right.
They could have wanted Liberace. Who knows? Liberace was available.
Oh, boys, come gather around the piano.
My three pianos.
Right.
My three
never know.
pianists. Oh, no, wait, that wouldn't go well. And
Probably
nowadays
not.
it might, but you never know.
Mhm.
Well, hey, Stanley, I know we're getting close on your time here, so I don't want to be holding you up too long. Man, dude, God,
Yeah,
this has just been
so fun.
I'm trying to absorb it all still. Good God.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to be?
And I've left most of it out.
Yeah. Are you now?
Well, you know what? I'll just have to come back on your show.
I think so.
Maybe it's better to do it in 2 doses.
Yeah, I was
I
going
have
to
a
say,
whole other part of my life. When
would
I
you
was
be
going to night
interested in that?
school,
That
we
would
need
be
a sequel.
awesome.
We need a sequel here.
Yeah, we could do a sequel at some point. Yeah. I mean, I had a whole life that was going on outside of show business too.
Yeah.
Set
Dude,
you
I
up
want to
for
hear
that
about
one.
that.
I took a political science class and ended up during the 1972 presidential election. Me, a Democrat, got involved in Republican politics and ended up going to the White House about 4 or 5 times in the Western White House, and I ended up meeting Richard Nixon.
Oh wow!
It's like almost like so weird. He sort of became a buddy. I'm like, what is the president? What does he want with me? Anyway, I don't want to tell you anymore because it's whole thing that went on for about a year. That was
goodness.
Yeah.
pretty
Oh no.
insane.
Yeah, we definitely need him
You're
back.
coming back on, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay. So, like I said, I know we're getting close on your time here, but we like to do a little thing we call Random Questions of Insanity. Would you like to play?
Sure, why not? I'm insane. I'd have to be. I got 7 years in show business to prove it.
Well, these are just some fun questions we like to just throw out to our guests, and
Right.
there's no right or wrong answer. It's just interesting to see what the answers would be. So, the first one I look
Have I
at,
ever seen
which
Uncle
would
Charlie nude?
no, oh God, no. But which
Oh,
famous
we're not
celebrity
getting
would
to
you
that,
want to
sorry.
punch in the face?
Well, I hate to get political, but there's a guy with a T. I wouldn't mind punching him. I don't know if that's too much of a hot potato right now. I don't usually speak politics. It doesn't
All
mix
right.
well. Religion
That's-
and politics, unfortunately for showbiz, in this day and age, in that age, it didn't mean it. You could go,
Yeah.
like I said, I did this things with Republicans, and they were all really nice, and I was
Ooh.
Democrat. Most of my friends were Democrats, but it was just the respect for people back then. Now it's like this completely different, weird world we live in. So
Oh well, and politics now are just such a mixed, muddled mess. It's
it is.
Yeah. Let's
Who
not even
knows
go
where
down
we're
that
going?
road. So okay,
Although
now
I
you're.
bought my airplane ticket. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, as a producer, what? Just because this will be an interesting take. What is your favorite James Bond movie?
To Russia from Love.
Ooh, okay.
I'm kinda
We've
more
either
old
had one end
school.
of the spectrum or the other. So that was very.
Younger people are probably gonna like. I'm a Sean Connery fan.
Oh,
Die
yeah.
Hard, and even Mr.
So
Dr. No. I love Doctor. I just watched it a
Oh.
couple of nights ago, actually.
Well,
Yeah.
and that just answered my my B to that question was what's your favorite? Who was your favorite Bond
Yeah.
actor? But Connery.
Yeah, Sean Connery for
All
sure.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you're kicking
I
back
mean,
at
I
your
think
house,
all of them are good and competent. All of them are
right?
good
Oh
and
yeah,
competent, but just and part of it has to do because you're growing up. Then it's
Yeah.
yeah,
different. I
it's
watch things so differently now. When I was a kid, all those gadgets and
yeah.
machine guns coming out of the front of cars and blasting people out
Oh
through your
God,
sunroof. I
yes.
mean,
Yeah.
it's like just now it's just even crazier what they do, but that's where it's gone.
Yeah.
All right, now you're at home and you're going to your fridge. You're gonna open up and you're gonna make your favorite sandwich. What do you make, and how do you make it?
I like honey baked ham. They also make honey, not to do a commercial for them, but they make honey based sliced turkey.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty big bag, and I didn't even know about it till a couple of years ago. But it's kind of made the same way they make the actual hams. They
Mm-hmm.
coat it, I guess, with some kind of honey,
It's
and
glazed.
in the process of cooking, it gets glazed over. And oh my God, yeah! So that's it. Just honey baked chicken, or I mean not chicken, turkey sandwich. That's my
Okay.
favorite.
Okay.
Well, what kind of bread?
Whatever I can find in the refrigerator.
It doesn't matter.
So you're
We're
not a bread
well,
snob.
we're no, I am. We're bread people. That's the problem. So we have cinnamon bread in there, cinnamon raisin bread, multigrain, everything bagels, English muffins. Probably the
Oh yeah,
multigrain bread would be my favorite. Yeah,
Okay.
dude.
no,
Okay.
no Wonder Bread. Forget that.
No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. That's not bread. That is
Yeah.
not bread.
Yeah.
No. I'm a sourdough snob, so I, especially coming
Oh, I
from the
love
Bay Area,
sourdough.
the San Francisco. There's
Oh
nothing better
yeah.
than the sour. What is it? Parisian bakery right there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
oh man, when they make it fresh, you buy that, then you go down and you get your crab and stuff from Pier 39 or Fisherman's
Yep.
Wharf, and this fresh dough.
Sure.
Okay.
Clam chowder in a bread bowl it's not beaten anywhere else.
Oh
So
yeah.
No, I do that every time I go there. What's the name of that place? It's right there. It sells bread. They have the bakery right there.
Uh,
Ah,
Boudin.
it
Bowden.
starts with a
Boudin.
B.
Yeah. Boudin.
Boudin. Yeah.
Yeah, Bodines. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. That's my favorite
Yeah,
place.
they're amazing.
I love Frisco. San Francisco, I go up there all the time. That, and I got a couple places I like to go just because they have great cappuccinos there.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of by Little Italy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I forget the name of that, but oh man.
And then
So I wind up my night every night.
speaking of that, have you ever been to Boz Scaggs' little piano bar, the Martini Piano
No,
Bar?
I didn't know he had one. Oh, really?
I don't
I'll
know if it's
definitely have to
still
ask
there,
him.
but when I lived up there many moons ago,
Mhm.
I just heard about it by chance, and it was kind of an underground thing. And then oh man, we went in there, and he actually ended up coming out and playing for about an hour, and then disappeared again. But
Oh
Wow.
wow.
oh, dude, so amazing! Oh my god, I was
Yeah,
like,
he
that's
is
not him. There's no
amazing.
way that's him. That's him. And then he started singing. I was like, holy
That's him.
shit, it's him.
Yeah,
And
yeah. There's no mistaking his voice. That's for
oh
sure.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, he did Harbor Lights and
Oh, I
stuff.
just thought of the name of that place. I just thought that it's called Cafe Puccini.
Oh, okay,
It's
all right.
it's on
Hmm.
Columbus Avenue. Yeah,
nice.
kind of
Okay.
about a block before you get to Chinatown, where Chinatown branches off.
Okay.
Right. And by the way, if you're ever in Chinatown, I'm sure it's still there. The Silver Dragon. Mwah. Oh my gosh, so amazing. Okay, let's throw you one more here. Da, 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 da. some of these.
Remind me to tell you a story after you ask me this. I've got a San Francisco story.
Oh, okay.
Actually, an Alcatraz story.
Okay, I like this one. What's the weirdest thing a guest has done at your house?
What's the weirdest thing that's done at my house?
No, that a guest
That
has done at your house.
trying to think. Well, the thing is, since we moved here and COVID came, we don't
Oh,
have any guests anymore.
Right.
okay.
That's part of the problem. Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that one. My wife is forbidding anybody, including family, from coming over. So this has
Okay.
been kind of long and
Then
hard. Glad to
let's.
talk to you guys, actually.
All right. Here's this one. You're a mad scientist. What scientific experiment would you run if money and ethics weren't an issue?
If money and ethics. Wow. I think cloning would be kind of interesting to me, but that does
Yeah.
involve ethics. I would like to see somebody do like what they did in Jurassic Park. And,
Oh,
they just found
Yeah.
a dinosaur egg with the little baby dinosaur in the egg. I don't know whether there's any
yeah,
way to get that DNA or whether it's still active or they can bring the DNA back to life.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
wouldn't want to see it unbridled where there's Tyrannosaurus Rex running down Columbus Avenue in San Francisco. But,
Eating up the old trolley cars and
yeah,
whatnot. All right.
they're
So,
making a beeline for that sourdough bread.
yeah, well, then we'd have, that'd be war.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you said you had an interesting San Francisco story.
Oh, actually, yeah, we go up there. Until this thing broke out, we go there every year, a couple times a year. But we were there Christmas time once, went over to Alcatraz.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, we just wanted to walk there. We're a big fan of that Clint Eastwood movie, Escape from Alcatraz. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
know every line by heart.
Nice.
And we just thought it'd be fun to walk around. And anyway, my wife started talking to this guy that was sitting there. I think he was selling the books, or it was actually his book. And so anyway, I saw her. That kind of left her alone for a while. And finally, I could see her motioning me over. So I was like, "What?" She's this guy wrote this book. He wants to give us a private tour of Alcatraz and take
Oh,
us like
wow.
places you can't get into. And we did it, and
Oh,
it was man, like some really spooky places in there. But we thought we'd
yeah.
seen everything in the Clint Eastwood movie, but there's a lot more to Alcatraz than they're showing
Oh,
in that
Oh,
wow.
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
We
that
cool.
was
we actually
really
had Larry Hankin on the
exciting.
show.
Oh, did you? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
just
he.
watched. Have you guys ever seen Trains, Planes, and Automobiles?
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you know he's in that movie?
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
That
and
movie? Okay, yeah,
there's a great
he's
story that
Doobie.
there's a great story that he told that they shot some different takes of his cab scene, right?
Right.
But they ended up using the very first take that they did. But I guess I guess the director set up like a 2-hour take of the different parts of the cab scene that they shot.
Mhm.
And several years later, someone came up to Larry at a party and said, "Hey, I just saw the cab movie that you did with Steve Martin and John Candy." And he's like, "What?"
And so,
I
yeah,
guess,
somebody
Wow.
made a little mini movie of it
yeah, and he'd never seen it.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah,
yeah,
because
they
they
had a
they
lot of
they took
footage,
so long
obviously.
filming that scene.
yeah,
But he talked
So
about when he was on the set there, he wasn't, in every shot. So he'd go off and roam for hours. And he was
yeah.
like discovering, like he went underground in the basement or whatever where
that
the Indians and
that's
stuff
kind of
were.
what we did.
Yeah. And he said, well,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah, yeah.
trippy.
Yeah,
He
it's
was,
pretty trippy and pretty dark and dank and drippy. Besides that,
oh,
besides
yeah.
trippy,
Oh, God. Yeah.
it's dark
No,
and
that's.
dank. Yeah, probably the nicest part of it are the cells, to be honest. Yeah.
Well,
And
it's there
they're
for
a
a
lot
reason.
smaller than you would think too. You look at them, you go, "Oh my God, can you imagine 20, 30 years in one of these little cells, barely
Mm.
wider than the bed."
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
like cruel and unusual punishment for
Yeah,
sure. But
yeah, you do
yeah,
the crime, you do the time, and that was the place for that. That's for sure.
yeah. Now they put you up
But
in hotels with cable TV.
right, and nice hot food, and yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
But
it's like you got food. Aren't you supposed to be eating slop?
right. Well, listen,
Sounds
uh,
good.
I'm not going to keep you any longer. And Stanley, I'm so stoked that you want to come back. We will get something set up so we bring you back and have part deux
All right,
with you, sir. And
all
it's been
right.
an absolute pleasure. I thank you so much. And hopefully you'll be having something to promote the next time we have you on here. Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends. Yeah, I've got Well, a TV pilot right now I've been working on, and we just
Right.
kind of held back. We thought we had some financing for it, but I had another TV pilot almost shot last year, and we actually did have the money for that one, and I bailed because it was like, ooh, I'm like
Oh.
worried because I was this executive producer on it, but I was also the manager of the LLC, which was doing it. And I go,
Oh.
we're kind of doing what Screen Actors Guild in these letters we've been receiving are telling us not to do, bringing 15, 20, 25 people into a room all
Yeah.
together and
Right.
shooting either on a sound stage or in a house or wherever we were going to end up shooting this thing. And I said, "Where's the liability?" I couldn't find an insurance company that would underwrite for COVID.
Right.
They said,
Right.
Yeah.
"Well, if
Wow.
somebody gets COVID, guess who they're suing? Me.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
somebody not only gets it but dies, guess who they're suing? Me." And I said,
Right.
I'm for pushing this downstream. And we did for about 3 months, and then my partners wanted to, do it anyway. And I think they shot it in Cleveland or something. But I said, take my name off of every scrap of paper. It's there.
You're like, I'm
I don't
done.
want to be affiliated.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
that's too
good.
much liability to me. If I was
Right.
30, maybe, but
Yeah.
my age, I don't need to be sued right and left and up and down. So I thought, wow,
No,
think I'll pass.
that's not
It
cool.
was a TV talk show. Yeah, I don't want to lose everything because of a TV talk show.
Right.
This isn't Indiana Jones. Yeah, it's not like Sound of Music. It's just a TV talk show. So
Yeah. So,
I'm out.
well,
Yeah,
yeah.
hopefully this other thing
You're
will be
like,
going.
I'm done. All right. Well, Stanley, thank you again so much, and I can't wait to get you
Yeah.
back on here. We'll
All
get
right.
something set up here soon. And sir, again, thank
It's
you
great
so
to
much.
talk to you,
This has been
Stanley. Thank you so
absolutely
much.
awesome.
Great talking to all of you. Yeah, no, it's been my pleasure, and yeah, we'll do it
Stanley,
again.
thank you so
Yay.
much, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you,
All
Stanley.
right. God, oh my gosh, dude! I swear to God, we could have sat here for another 2 hours.
No,
and
really, I love again, we've gotten some really great interviews lately, and a lot of these guys just are. I mean, obviously they're actors; they know how to, they know how to talk and they know how to. But I mean, just
dude,
again, it's really great hearing these stories of all these older sort of classic shows, and especially just these happenstance sort of. Oh yeah, a lot of producers were at my swim lessons, and
right. Well, and that's the thing. It's
Uh,
all the behind the scenes stuff that you
yeah, it's
hear,
just so
and
fun.
and how it all these people interconnect in one way or another. And you're
Oh
just
yeah,
like we were just talking, we were like, oh yeah, Larry Hankin, and he's like, oh yeah, I mean, he's a huge fan of Escape from Alcatraz,
I know, right?
and
Yeah,
he was just like, oh wait, what? And
yeah.
it was just and then he's going on the same tour that Larry Hankin just happened to be bumbling around and killing time
Right.
while he was on set. So
Yeah,
that's just classic.
that was just great. Such a
Oh
good
my
interview.
gosh,
Yeah.
dude, oh my God. Yeah,
I mean,
like
it's
I
such
said, when we were on the phone, when I was talking to him, and this was months ago. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how long I've been trying to get him on,
Yeah.
and finally I got him to nail down a date, which was today.
Mhm.
But it's I talked to him on the phone and I'm like, dude, okay, we got to save it for the show.
Yeah, save it all for the show. Yep.
And and then Steven was telling me he's like, oh, you got to ask him about the stained glass. And so, and I was like, what? And he's like, oh yeah, man, he
Yeah.
had a period where he was just kind of chill. And
Yeah.
it was just,
That was a really fun little side story. That I mean, just
oh, God, that was a blast.
yeah. Very
All
cool.
right. Well, we are coming up on our time to say goodbye. But it's never really saying goodbye unless I get the chat out of the way, and it's just me and you now, Andy.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, it is our last show of the year.
It is true. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
no better way to ring it out than with a little Dead Campers.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and it has been quite the year, man. You are
Yeah.
a fabulous addition to the show, and I thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is just I mean, we are taking off, and we've got so many things. We've got our producer in the ear,
Yeah.
Mr. Matt, who has just done a fantastic job. Of,
Happy New Year,
keeping us
Corey.
under control.
Hope you have a great one, man.
Now Matt wants to be popular and pop in
Yeah.
the show here. Oh, I'll even give you the big screen, Matt. There, how's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
You look like a sea captain. Yeah. Oh,
Corey,
Matt,
how's married life
Oh.
so far, Corey?
Matt's microphone isn't working.
He busted his microphone.
Way to go, director. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who's technologically challenged now?
No, it's
Yeah.
still you, Kristian.
Dude. Oh, that hurt. That was just mean.
That's good, Corey. I'm glad, man. I'm glad everything's going good so far.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Huh?
we can hear you, Matt.
I can hear you in my ear, but
And I'm using my crappy one.
there.
Oh,
there's
hey-o,
there's
hey-o.
your voice.
And there it was, the old shark, and I had him like that, and he just bit me arm off.
It
Do I
was
get the part?
Skora.
No, I'm
Skora, the unhappy
cold.
shark.
I'm cold, and my hair is out of control. I need to
Yeah.
combed, and I
You're
didn't feel like
cold. What
combing
is
it.
it?
So,
60 degrees there?
man, it is 60 degrees inside the house. It's
Yeah.
warm.
Wow. Well,
I don't even think it hit 55 outside.
where's your cats?
Dude, tomorrow
Oh,
night
that's
it is
amazing.
going to be 21
That's right
degrees.
Yeah. Welcome to the
How
Midwest,
much?
baby.
21 degrees tomorrow night.
Of course, yeah.
Brr.
We've still been California.
Yeah,
winter
the
out here.
Really?
storm that you guys hit, that hit you guys,
Lots of
Andy,
Yeah.
just dumped all kinds of rain here. I mean, we got
Oh, man. Yeah.
the freeway. I was telling Chris, the freeway flooded in the middle of town.
Oh, geez.
They shut down
Yeah.
Highway 101
Which
for like
never
4
happened.
hours.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. No,
Insane.
we're on. Yeah, we've been on flood watch for a while because we're on a hill. Our house is nowhere near like flood warning, but we're close enough
Okay.
to the river that we got the flood watch warning, and we drove by it the other day, and it's like it's up. There's
Wow.
usually there's a boat down on the river that's usually like the ramp's at a 45-degree angle. It was
Yeah.
actually up today. Like the ramp was up. It's like, oh man,
Oh,
it's crazy.
man.
Yeah.
That's
Well, guys,
insane.
Again, it is the last show of the year, and I cannot thank either one of you enough. You have truly made this show what it is, and it's been growing, and it is because of you guys and the excellent work that you do. So I want to thank you both very much. I want to thank all our listeners out there. Thank you so much for liking, following, subscribing. Please continue to do so. We have some great things planned for next year. In fact, I will give a little tease. We're going to have a raffle for a guest host spot on the show coming up here in just a couple of months. We'll probably be announcing it all next week. I've just finished ironing out most of it. So I want to make sure we get everything right before I blabble it all out to you. But if you are into comics, this is going to be huge. Marvel and DC, and we're going to have some signed artwork and whatnot. Anyway, that's all I'm really going to say right now. But it's going to be awesome. And so, if you're not really into comics, but you know somebody who is, tell them to start
Comic
paying
books,
attention.
you should also.
Yeah, comic
Yeah,
books.
not
because
comedy
and
comics.
okay, I'm not. I want to say so much,
Yeah.
but I can't. Okay, so but next week, be listening up because we are going to have major news, major announcement for nerds like us. So again, thank you again all so much for being so cool. And this reason for the season is being cool and being nice to each other and taking care of each other, and that's what it's all about. That's what we do here at the Random Christian Show. So for not only me, but for my constituents, Andy, Matthew, thank you again, everyone, so much. Have a wonderful new year. We will see you in the new year. And peace out. Be good to each other. We're all we got. Take care. Mwah. Peace.
Happy New Year,
See you
everybody.
next year.